Hello everybody, hello, and welcome to the live stream. I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger. We do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, that's 9 Eastern. For those who might be Mountain Challenge, thanks for joining us on Wednesday evening. But sometimes water is so good. All right. So it's been a while. I was at the ACA convention last week, the American Cichlid Association convention last week. So I did not get to the live stream. And the week before that, I was in Georgia in the Atlanta Area Aquarium Association. It's like, instead of AAA, it's quadruple A. And life has been nuts, so I'm going to catch you up on all that. I had some amazing experiences there that I'm going to tell you about. But first, we're going to do the shipping report, and then we are going to get to the giveaway. And I'm going to address a horrible review as well. So that's kind of what's on the docket, and after that, we'll get to your questions and comments. Okay, so I have some exciting news. We have improved by 0.01%. When I last spoke to you, our percentage of success shipping fish to our customers was 98.93%, and as of this afternoon, it is 98.94%. Even better. That's the 12-month running total. And if I look at the 6-month running total, it's even better, 99.7%. Our goal is to get the 12-month running total up to 99%. That's what we're working towards. And 0.01% is a big gain for us. It takes a lot of improvement with the volumes we're doing to get to that number. So we are 0.06% away from our goal of 99%. So we are getting close. Hundredths, man, we're so close. And hundredths of a percent, by the way. So it's a minimal amount, but we are working towards it. All right. That's the shipping report. Let's get to the giveaway. So the giveaway tonight are some red Rosetail guppies, bred and raised by a hobbyist who came to the barbecue. We have a 4th of July celebration barbecue here at Dan's Fish. I guess I could say every year because we've done it 2 years in a row. I guess now it's annually. And a hobbyist breeder brought a few pairs. So I believe there are 3 pairs that we'll be giving away of these beautiful red Rosetail guppies. And again, hobbyist bred and raised. So these are not imports. These have been rock solid for us, and they should do really well for you. Now, I normally go into the care of the fish I'm giving away, but guppies are about as straightforward as it comes. They'll eat anything. They're peaceful. They are boisterous. They're very inquisitive. So really, really shy fish that don't like visitors will be annoyed by them. But in general, guppies are, pretty perfect community fish. Easy to take care of, keep some veggies in the diet, and be ready for lots of babies. That's kind of the deal with guppies. So excited to have these red Rosetails to give away for you. If you want to enter to win those, then enter hashtag RedRose in the chat. That's hashtag REDROSE in the chat. And you will be entered to win a group of those. Before I get into what happened on my last couple trips to the convention and the Atlanta Area Aquarium Association, which was super fun, I want to address something. So I've got a really bad review just a few minutes ago, and there's been a couple reviews that have mentioned something, which is that we do not have live fish labels on our boxes. And there is a reason for that. One of the more frequent comments we get is, I think you should label it live fish because they'll be treated more gently. The reason we don't label it live fish is, in our experience, that creates all kinds of complications. Folks in the transportation system are like, oh no, live fish, what do I do? Must be special. And they put it aside, and all the special care and attention it gets often results in delays. Now, this last Monday, there were some delays. I think 20% of our packages were delayed that we sent out on Monday because there was a big lightning storm in Kentucky. And so all the stuff that went to that hub, not all of it, but a portion of the things that went to that hub could not get on their flights because the flights were canceled or delayed. So it was just, one of those things that no one can control. So every now and then fish are delayed for other reasons. But when we put live fish on the box, they're delayed more frequently. And the other thing is, we have had it happen where our boxes were sabotaged by people who are, how do I put this? Against people being able to keep aquarium fish. They don't think that's good. Activists, basically, that are pretty fundamentalist and have actually done things to our boxes of fish. So because of that, we don't put live fish on the box. We have agreements with UPS. We're very open with them about what we're doing. They know exactly what we're doing. And that's what we've found to be the best way to proceed so far. So, I don't know. I think the idea that if you put live fish on a box that is treated with, A, it's more likely to be delayed because, oh, what do I do with this, right? This is abnormal. And B, the idea that it's treated really gently and kindly and stuff, I don't think so. I really think it's generally treated just like any other package with the exception of when it's treated special, which delays the package. So that's why we don't do that. So just want to address that. It's, people ask occasionally why we don't do that or suggest in reviews that we do that. That's why. Now what I might do is get a custom dye mold built that would say something like Dan's fish perishable in a temperature range, something like that. But the reason I've hesitated to do that is because I think that that's basically the same as saying live fish on a box. So I have been wrestling with how to best do that. It might be good just to say perishable with a temperature range and not indicate exactly what it is. Like, I'm not sure. All I know is when I say live fish on a box, because I used to do that, the percentage of issues increases. Yeah, so anyway, that's why we don't do that. Ben Sharp says, I've heard the same from many experienced fish keepers. Yeah, the thing that made me finally decide, okay, I'm not doing this anymore, was literally animal rights activists were sabotaging our shipments. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Yeah. All right. So now we got that out of the way. Let's do something cool, I think. Let's talk. I've got a few pictures from Georgia. So Georgia was awesome. I got to meet Pat Riggins, who is a longtime customer and the president also of the Atlanta Area Aquarium Association Club, and got to tour her fish room. And it was super cool because a large number of her fish were sourced from me. And so it was neat to see them, on the other side thriving. And she had tons and tons and tons of babies. So she and I talked, and I'm hopeful that I can start purchasing fish from her. She can breed enough and get enough available that I can bring fish in from Pat. So that was really cool. And it's a very nice fish room. It's very nicely laid out. The tanks are nice and clean. She obviously spends a lot of time and care in that fish room. Fish are in great shape and tons of babies everywhere. So that was a real treat. That was after a long flight in, so I didn't stay out very late that night. The next day, we went to a local fish store. I always like going to see fish stores, see what's going on, in other states. What's the scene like? What are prices like? All that stuff, just to kind of get a sense of the, the business in other places. So that was cool. And then I went and I gave my talk, and I had a great time. The talk was on how to ship fish so that 99% of them arrive alive. That's kind of the title of that talk. And met a lot of great people there. Met a couple other folks that are also breeding fish. There's one young man, he's 15 years old, and he breeds all kinds of neat catfish. So I'm hopeful that I can maybe source some woodcats from him, maybe some honey, I can't say the word, honeycomb, there we go, honeycomb cats, or Perugier. I like that species a lot. He has a few others as well. So it's always nice when you can meet people and find some folks that breed fish, and maybe you can source us now. Maybe we can, get some healthy stock from some hobbyist breeders. So that was really cool. And then after the talk was one of the highlights of my month. I got to visit Mitchell Broom's fish room, which is awesome. I've been a fan of Mitchell Broom for a long time. He's been a big supporter of this company. And sometimes we run into things that we don't know the answer to, and Mitchell's one of the people that we can reach out to and get a good answer from, because he knows his stuff. So I was able to tour his fish room and a greenhouse he has that has fish in it as well. And that was an absolute treat. So many awesome fish. So many just beautiful, healthy fish. And he's breeding tons and tons and tons of them. Just breeds all kinds of neat stuff. Mainly Corridoras is what he's working on right now. And the bit of it that blew my mind was we went out to his greenhouse and we saw a Phanius mento. Let me show you this fish. So this is one of the first fish that I ever kept and bred, this little killifish, a Phanius mento. And I've seen them looking really good in aquariums many, many times. But I've never seen them look as good as they did at Mitchell's, because he has them in a greenhouse. And there is not a picture that's going to do them justice. But the blacks were black, jet black. And the spangles were super shiny. Like, I had never seen that fish look so good. And just seeing those was like worth the trip by itself. It was pretty amazing. After that, I got to go, after that I went to sleep. The next day, had to go get my flight, but on the way out, I went by Michael X fish room. Michael breeds a lot of neat killifish. He goes to Cameroon and collects killifish. He had Funnel Panchax Kunzi, and lots of other really, really neat stuff. And by the way, that fish at the last AKA auction, I think they went for something like $300. Like, it was the highest bidded fish at the auction, like a really beautiful, rare, hard to get fish. So that was awesome to meet Michael and see his fish room. And then on the way to the airport, we had to stop real quick and do this. We went on a quick collecting trip. We only had a few minutes because I had to make my plane, but here's some of the gang. And we went out to this little creek in Georgia, and not a lot of rainbow shiners in Georgia, but there is this one spot. And we collected some sculpins here. I'm not sure the species. I don't know my sculpins very well. We'll skip that one. Here's the creek that we collected in. And there's this little spot here where the water comes down a couple cement barriers. And in this creek, we collected a whole bunch of rainbow shiners, which was just super fun. I've kept and loved rainbow shiners forever. So it was awesome to collect some in the wild, see their habitat, and get to just, play in the stream. Then I had to, get to the airport, figure out what to do with my wet clothes, figure out how to change, and get to the airport dry. But that all worked out just fine. This is a Corridor's concolor from Mitchell Broom's fish room. And the reason I took the pictures, look at this dorsal fin. It's so high. Big, beautiful dorsal fin on these. I don't usually see that here because usually we sell them before they get big enough to have that. But once this species matures, it gets this very big, it's hard to see in that one, it's better here, really nice dorsal fin. So the other thing about Georgia that was super cool was just the hospitality. Southern hospitality is real. Like, those people treated me right. In how beautiful it is there. It's so green. Like, you're driving down the freeway and you feel like you're in a forest. There are so many trees. And as a guy from like the high desert here in Wyoming, where it's pretty, but it's not nearly as jungly as Georgia. It blew my mind just how much green, how many trees. I thought it was beautiful. Like you're driving down the road and there's a shopping center right there, but you can't see it because there's so many trees lining the road. So even when you're in a place where there's shopping centers and businesses and homes, you feel like you're out in the woods, which I thought was pretty darn cool. So the next trip was the American Cichlid Association convention. That was in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've never been there before, so that was cool to see. One of the things that was really great there is I got to just see some old friends, like just meeting people that I haven't seen for a long time. Really fun. Meeting new people. I really enjoyed doing that and finding out what people are doing in this hobby. And also met some people that, could probably supply me with some fish. So I'm always on the lookout when I go to club events or conventions for people that can supply me with healthy fish. Got to hang out with Ryan from Wild Fish Tanks, who's one of my favorite dudes. I tried to hire Ryan a few years ago. That's how much I like him. But it didn't work out, but I tried. But it was great to hang out with him at the convention, see what he's doing. So when I go to conventions, I pretty much go to every presentation, every lecture, because I want to learn. And then when I'm not there, I try to network. Something I did get to do was I got to go to a store there called Finspiration. And usually I walk into a pet store or a fish store and I'm not impressed. Usually I walk in and it hurts my heart a little bit to see all the sick fish and see what's going on there. I'll look at the store and I'll calculate really quickly in my head, okay, what's their inventory? I know approximately what their profit margins are. And then I do a quick thing where I just create a quick business plan in my brain thinking, how's this store doing? And often I go in and I'm like, man, this store is not doing well. They don't even have enough inventory that if they sold it all, that they could have enough profit to pay their rent and their employees, right? That's often the case. So a lot of stores are having to rely on, tank maintenance and things like that to make ends meet. But I went into Finspiration and I was so happy. The fish are beautiful. There's plenty of stock. There's enough stock for the business to actually make a profit. And they're healthy. So I was looking at this thing and I was like so impressed. I can look at a tank of fish and pretty much know those are healthy. I didn't see the underweight fish. I didn't see the diseased fish. Some of the live bears were a little challenging, but that's it. Just a few tanks of live bears. And I understand that. Live bears are super hard in this industry. It's amazingly hard to get healthy guppies, swordtails, platies. Like, it's ridiculous. But so I understood that. I forgave them for that. But every other tank, every other fish, I was like, these seem really rock solid. And they had really cool stuff. They had Pseudomugil mellis from, I believe it's Kangaroo Creek. And they were able to source them from a local breeder who got theirs from Marcel. They had the J-barb, which is awesome. I have such a hard time getting that fish in. Theirs were healthy and fired up and beautiful. So I think in the last 5 years, there's maybe been 3 fish stores I visited that I'm like, yeah, I could recommend this store. And this one I was like, I could enthusiastically recommend this store. So if you're in the Cincinnati area and you want a good fish store, check out Finspiration. It blew my mind how good it was. The other thing is, I was looking at all this fish and I was like, asking them, I was talking to them, I'm like, so you guys have to have a quarantine system, right? There's no way that these fish are this healthy out of the bag. Or do you have a supplier that does this good of a job? They're like, oh no, we quarantine. And so Chris, the owner, took me back and I was able to tour their quarantine section. We got talking shop. He explained their processes and procedures and it all fell into place. I was like, okay, it makes exact sense. You quarantine for a few weeks. You fatten them up, you get them healthy. Like I know exactly what you're doing. This is exactly right. So I know they're technically competition, but again, the mission here at Dan's Fish is not to outcompete everybody. The mission is to change the aquarium industry for the better. And when I see a store that I think is doing that, I want to support them and shout them out. So Chris and I have emailed back and forth a few times about, hey, have you tried this supplier and how was this fish? And hey, don't get this from here, but here they're doing well. You know, that kind of thing, so that we can support each other in our efforts to get healthy fish to our customers. So check out Finspiration if you're there. Totally worth a shout out. That guy is doing it right. He's doing the work that has to happen to get healthy fish to his customers. And I totally respect that. Like, it's so rare to see that. And I have all the respect in the world for that. Sometimes water is just so good. So that was a highlight. Seen a pet store that did a good job. So the other thing is, so I originally, I was the penultimate speaker. I was going to go, and then Ad Conings was going to go on Saturday. But due to a scheduling conflict, they needed Odd to be freed up to judge the cichlid show. So they switched us. So I ended up having to follow Odd Conings, which I got up there and I was like, I've been reading Odd Conings' books since I was a kid. Like, this guy's a hero to me. He's a giant in the fish hobby. He's a giant in like aquarium fish knowledge. And he's educated so many of us over the decades. So I got up there and I was like, following Odd Conings is like trying to follow Mick Jagger. I'm going to do my best, but I ain't no Mick Jagger. That's kind of how I felt. But I think the presentation went well. It seemed well received. A lot of people came up afterwards and asked interesting questions, which is one way that I know that a presentation goes well. If people are intrigued enough and thinking about it enough that they want to come up afterwards and find out more, get clarification or whatever, then in my mind, that's a marker of a successful presentation. So hopefully that's true. Hopefully the ACA got their money's worth out of me. I try to always make that happen. And gave the talk. I thought it went well. Had to follow Mick Jagger, though. That's it's no fun. Professor Fish thinks, what's the name of the speaker who wrote books? Odd Conings. So this guy. And like lots and lots of books that he's written. Like, he's a true expert on a lot of the Rift Lake stuff. Yeah, so that's Odd Conings. So that was really cool. And then the absolute highlight was happened the next day on the way to the airport. So whenever Lawrence Kent and I end up in the same town, we like to go collecting. And so Lawrence and I met at the convention. He was also speaking there. And he was like, hey, you want to go collecting? And I was like, I thought you'd never ask. Let's do it. So we got up really early, 3:30 a.m. my time on Sunday morning. We went collecting. And all I knew was that Lawrence had invited me. I didn't know who would be going. I didn't know, all the details. But something really cool happened. We went out collecting, and I don't have the pictures yet. Lawrence took a bunch of pictures. So I'm going to use his pictures off his Facebook page and just show you this. So this is Lawrence's Facebook page, and we went collecting, and Mark Binkley just happened to be the leader of our little expedition. And Mark is the owner of Jonah's Aquarium. So we were with a true expert who knew the fish. This guy can look at a river and just check out what's going on and be like, there. We go there, we'll catch fish. And here's the net we should use, and here's the technique we should use. And I learned so much from Mark about native fish and collecting and their habitat and their life cycles and how to identify them and all that. So that was a true pleasure. Mark, if you're watching, man, that was a highlight for me. It was so good to meet you. So, and then also there was Jonathan from Owazi. So it was me, Mark from Jonah's Aquarium, Jonathan from Owazi, and the incomparable Lawrence Kent. And so we caught some hog suckers, which are pretty cool. This is us out there in the creek. This is me, this is Mark, this is Lawrence. Look at these guys, green-sided darters and banded darters. They were absolutely stunning. Like the fish we have in our backyard. You guys in Ohio, you are so spoiled. This is like 20 minutes outside of Cincinnati, or outside of the convention, which was like on, I believe, the north end of Cincinnati. Oh, that's all that's showing there. Okay, so let me scroll down and show you some more. Rainbow darters and banded darters. Then this was my target species. This is my favorite Native American fish. This is Fundulus catenatus. They are not native to this region, but they had been introduced. Someone probably emptied their bait bucket, or a boat had emptied its bilge or something. And we caught, this was my target. This is the fish I wanted to catch. And we caught a bunch of juveniles. I wanted some big males. We caught some juveniles. And I'd kind of given up, and Mark was like, no, we're going to go here and we're going to try this technique. And we tried it a few times, and we caught 3 of these monsters. Nice, big, colored up males. Look at how beautiful these are. They remind me of an Aphyosemium striatum. They have these red stripes down the body, nice gill covers with bright dots on them, yellow and orange and red in the fins, and then they have this orange yellow margin in it was faded out, but they also get this black submargin on the tail to that kind of sets off the yellow and orange. These didn't have it at the time, but they do get it. And so I was so happy. Like I was like a kid in a candy store. We had found my target fish. And not just found it, but we found nice big adult specimens. So that was an absolute thrill. We found some Mad Toms. One was, I think there were 2 types we found. Mountain Mad Toms, and there might have been another. And I don't know my Mad Toms well enough to know. This one's the Stone Cat. We also we found 1 Mountain Mad Tom. And then here's a Cyprinella. This is a spotfin shiner. Really beautiful fish. Really nice minnow. Variegated darters. These things were thick. They were big. 3, if not 4 inches, and like thick. Like these were girthy and absolutely beautiful. Probably the favorite darter that we caught. There's us. This is me doing the darter shuffle. So you get in a riffle, you put down your seine, and then you shuffle back and forth to kind of herd the fish into the seine, and then you lift it up. And oh, hey, there's Ryan, speak of the devil. And yeah, that's how we caught all those darters. Is this, yeah, so this is the store. This is, I believe that this is Finspiration. So check out Lawrence Kent's Facebook page if you want to see a video of that. So anyway, that collecting trip was just super fun. Again, I tend to get my collecting in as I'm rushing to the airport, but we were able to spend a few good hours there. And, you know, got wet, collected some fish, you know, had some bro talk, and got to know some cool people and had a great time. So that was my experience. I learned a lot. I got to go collecting. I got to network. I got to meet some potential breeders that could supply us here at Dan's Fish, which I'm always looking for. If you're a hobbyist and you breed aquarium fish and you have them in decent amounts, I love buying aquarium fish from hobbyists, and I can pay 25% of my retail price landed. So the cost of the fish and whatever it is to get to me, I have to mark up. I can pay 25% of what my final retail price is for that. So if that sounds like something that could work for a group of fish you have, send us an email, hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO @dansfish.com. Let us know what you got, and we'll see if we can do some business. Now, a few of you are probably listening going like, but you haven't got back to my email about fish I have available. You're right. Like, since the week when I went to Atlanta, through the ACA, and all the work I had to do beforehand and during to keep the business rolling, I am a bit behind on emails. It is my plan to get to those by the end of this week and get back to all of you. And I think that's doable. So that is the report. Great people, fun collecting, and learned a lot at the presentations. Yeah, that's what happened. Let's see here. With that, I think it's time to get to your questions and comments. Oh, I forgot this highlight. So at in Georgia, at that aquarium club meeting, I had the true delight of finally meeting the Codfather in the flesh. Bob Kaler has supported this channel for years, one of my earliest customers, helped in all kinds of ways behind the scenes, also moderated the channel like for a long time, keeping things rolling. And so it was an absolute pleasure to finally meet that person in person and be like, hey, you do really exist. You know, it was awesome to meet you, Bob. That was an absolute highlight of that trip. What made me think of that is before we get to the questions and comments, I want to say thanks to all the moderators who volunteer their time here to make the chat run smoothly. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, shoot. Looks like there's been some super chats. See if I can scroll up and see them. Some activity. Gary Williams, who's been a member for 23 months, says it's been a long time since I've been able to watch a stream, but I'm still here supporting you. Gary, thank you. Thanks for being a member for, geez, almost 2 years. That's pretty amazing. Select Pet mattress in the back of the van fund, $10. Yeah, so I was on a panel at the ACA convention, and they asked all of us, like, something about where would you like to collect if you could, and people were saying where they'd want to go, and it got to me, and I had a different answer. I'm like, what I want to do is throw a mattress down in the back of a van and drive around the United States and go from fish club to fish club and go collecting all around the United States. I probably won't keep anything, but I want to get a snorkel and like swim in the habitat and get to observe them in nature. I'd like to catch some and take some pictures. And I just think that that would be so fun. I could test different equipment out. I could get to know some techniques so that if I do end up going to West Africa or I know Papua New Guinea or something like that, I know which equipment to use. I know what works for me. Like I've got some practice. So, you know, I think that would be smart to do just to get a little bit of experience. But also, I think there's amazing stuff here. Like seeing those darters and those northern studfish was like just as awesome to me as I think it'll be to collect a species, you know, in a rainforest somewhere. They're just as cool. So that is something that I would like to do someday. We got a little work to get there, but I would like to make that happen. Kids, aquatics or reptiles and aquatics. Speaking of the devil, throwing down a Pippi long stocking to put some pep in our step. I can't say that. Chattanooga Ed, who I also got to hang out with in Georgia. It was good to see you, Ed. Always good to run into you. I think I've run into Ed, 3 times now, maybe 4. It's always fun. And then Chris Waters has joined up. Hey, Chris, thanks for becoming a member of the Fishmonger crew. Thanks for supporting the channel with your membership. Much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to get to questions and comments now. If you have a question or comment you would like me to respond to, if you put @DansFish in the chat, it will highlight in orange when you select that. And that's what I look for when I'm scrolling down the chat. I look for these orange boxes. That's what I respond to. So if you do that, you have a much higher chance of me responding to your question or comment. Okay. Scotty the Fish Freak. The tall gentleman with the beard in the collecting pics. Was his name Jason by any chance? No, that's Mikael. Mikael. Heck of a beard, though. So I'm walking up into Pat Riggins' fish room, and I see him up there, and I walk up to him, and how I greet him is I put up my hand and I say, "Sir, that is a beard to be proud of." That's how I met him. It's like, that's a man's beard right there. Mama Duck, you deserve to be treated nice by them. It's basically returning the favor since you're so nice. Oh, I don't know. I've got my moments. I can be a downright unpleasant fella at times, but hey, they were super nice. I have fish disappear in my community tank, maybe 2 or 3 every month, says Ben. After 6 months, I start to notice I'm missing a lot of fish. Any idea what's up? Parasites, maybe? Well, could be anything, Ben, but a couple possibilities that come to mind are, do you have a tight-fitting lid? Is it possible they're jumping out and then your cat's getting a nice treat before you see that they've jumped out? Is there a large fish in there that occasionally picks off the other fish? Or is it truly that some of them are just dying off randomly every few months? If the case is that they're randomly dying off every few months, I have no idea what it could be. It could be anything that affects fish health negatively, and that's so many things. So without, seeing them and having a real diagnosis done, I wouldn't know what's going on, to tell you the truth. There's so many possibilities. Sorry that's happening. Is there any symptoms that show, or is it like everyone seems vibrant and healthy all the time and just every now and then I'm like, hey, what's going on? One's missing. Or do some say fat and vibrant and a couple get really skinny and emaciated and then gradually waste away and you notice that they're getting skinny and stuff. So are there any symptoms, or is it just like, no, they straight up disappeared. They were looking awesome. Wade, Dan recently lost a guppy to wasting disease. Being a Canadian with a lack of access to fish medication, is there any way I could have saved that fish with what's available in Canada? Wade, I don't know what's available in Canada, but like I know a lot of things have been restricted. If flubendazole is still available in Canada, that's worth a try. I order it on eBay from a company in England. Under the brand name Flucasol. So this is the stuff. Very, very effective against a wide range of things. So if that's not illegal for you to get, that's one thing that we routinely treat our live bears with when they first come in to prevent, wasting disease and other things. Now, that being said, there's lots of things that could be causing wasting disease. Some of them are treatable, some are not. And we've had a wide variety, anything from roundworms to flatworms to hexamida, to viruses, to certain bacteria that are encysted and therefore very difficult to treat, to cocci. Like there's lots of things that can cause wasting disease. So we call it wasting disease, but that's not what it is. It's a symptom. We know the fish is wasting away, but wasting disease sounds like that's a diagnosis. It's not. There's many, many things that can cause a fish to waste away. And so I'm not sure that Flucasol or flubendazole could treat it, but it does treat a wide range of roundworms and flatworms and flukes, which is a good start. And again, I'm no veterinarian, just telling you what we've experienced here as we've treated our fish. Mitchell Broom, you just missed out on the start of late summer storm spawning season. I now have spawns of Epistobarloi, CW163, C134 con color, Reynolds eye, and Bosemani cories this week. Oh yeah, I got to see Bosemani cories for the first time in Mitchell's fish room. I got to see a lot of firsts. He has some amazing things. Well, Mitchell, was still a good time, but that would have been cool to see all those spawns. Hey, and Mitchell, by the way, an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thanks for being so hospitable and for taking the time to just nerd out on fish with me. I really had a great time. Your room is impressive. Cool videos from a cool guy. I got 2 rabbit snails from Petco, and the employees said that they were blue dye, which makes them calmer during shipping. Have you ever heard of this? and does it benefit or hurt the snail? Yeah, so there's a lot of shippers will put blue or yellow chemicals which cause water to turn blue or yellow or whatever. I don't know enough about snails to know if it's beneficial for snails, but one of them is methylene blue, and I think that's possibly beneficial. It's not an antibiotic, it's kind of like an antiseptic in a way. So if fish are getting dinged up or anything, it keeps superficial things from getting infected. And it also increases the fish's ability to uptake oxygen, increases, well, maybe that's not how it works. It increases, I believe it increases the amount of saturated oxygen in the water, but that might be wrong. Somehow it allows more oxygen available for the fish, whether it's in the water or a biopathway that they use to take oxygen from the water. I can't remember, but I believe it's the water itself gets higher oxygen saturation. And then the other thing that it does is it helps prevent ammonia poisoning and nitrite poisoning. It helps prevent brown blood from happening, which is what happens when nitrogenous waste gets so concentrated that it starts affecting the blood of the fish. So yeah, I think there's lots of benefits to methylene blue. I don't use it routinely, but I see why someone would. Another really common thing is acroflavin, which will turn the water a yellowish color. They'll also often put something like nitrofurazone in bags of fish. There's all kinds of chemicals. Every supplier has their own favorite cocktail, basically. Their own trade secret, which, you know, you open the bag, you're like, yeah, that's acroflavin. You know, our secret concoction, you know, and they're usually very reluctant to tell you what it is, which, I don't know, it's so strange to me. It's like, why don't we just share everything that works so we kill less fish, so more people have success with fish, and our customer base broadens across the board for everybody? Our industry, live fish sales in the United States, is 900 million to about $1 billion annually, according to a source that is really got their pulse on this industry. And dude, it could be 10 times that if people bought fish that were healthy, that they would succeed with, instead of having all the fish die and being like, I'm done, I can't, you know, that's not what we want. Uncle Smiley, do you know when you will have cardinal tetras again? I don't. We have a group that I'm trying to get ready for sale, and every time I think they're ready for sale, it's like, oh shoot, there's a dead one in there. And then they'll be fine for a week, and I'll look again and be like, dude, I thought these were ready to sell, but there's another dead one. So trying to get to the bottom of that. So we have a group that's doing fairly well, but is still not stable enough that we want to send them out. So I'm working on it. And, you know, this is a group that's from a supplier that traditionally has done a really good job. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Select Pet, your presentation was the best of the weekend to me. Oh, Select Pet, thank you. Thank you so much. My favorite was Odd Coning's presentation on Lake Malawi, just because I didn't know a lot of that stuff he talked about. I didn't know the history of that lake. Just, it was fascinating, this body of water and how it's expanded and contracted over the millennia, and how it's got this massive layer of siltation building up all the time. So even though it's getting deeper all the time because the rift is opening, it's tearing the earth apart, and the rift that is full of water, which is the lake, is continuing to open and get deeper, so much sediment falls that the level doesn't really change. And there's all these things like how geological change drives speciation, and how they radiate and then contract and radiate and then contract. I was fascinated. I thought that was great. The Tanganyika talk I wasn't as drawn to, but man, that Malawi talk, I think that was my favorite of the weekend, just because I learned so darn much. Okay, let's see here. Coro, what's something you've learned from hosting the barbecue that you think applies to fish clubs hosting events? Huh. I think I'm still learning a lot about just how to do a barbecue properly. I think the thing that the people liked the most, honestly, was sitting down with Kate in the diagnostic lab and watching her work and learning about fish disease and fish tissue and fish organs and fish health and watching that happen. I mean, people were there for hours, you know, just fascinated by it. So I don't know how that would apply to a fish club, but the thing that I think was really cool for people was that, because that's something they just don't get anywhere else. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's something that they can't get anywhere else. Like, then of course they need to go. So what is it they're getting from a fish club that they aren't getting anywhere else? And how can you accentuate that and focus on that and heighten that for them? Whether it's just the camaraderie, whether it's the auction, whether it's, you know, I don't know what it is. One thing that we did that was kind of fun is we had a poker tournament and we were playing for monster pellets. So all the monster pellets, which is a, you know, fish food kibble, like dog sized kibble, but for fish, all the ones you win, you get to keep. Those are the stakes. So I thought that was kind of fun, but it wasn't a big draw. I just thought it was fun. Let's see here. Chris Waters, I think I already shouted you out, but if I didn't, hello again. Any fish will do. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Holy cow, Rob. Oh, Rob, you didn't have to do that, but thank you for the super generous super chat. I'm so sorry about your back. We hired movers this time. Yeah, thanks. Rob, I have no ill will. Like, that was all on me. I didn't stretch and I lifted wrong. All on me. But thank you for that super chat. Jeez, Rob. That was unexpected and much appreciated. Darb, what would be the best way to transport fish from a fish store over a 5-hour car ride, possibly an overnight stay in a hotel? I'd pack them up like I was shipping them. I'd have an insulated box or cooler or something like that. I would pack them up in bags with oxygen if I could. If not, I would pack them lightly with atmosphere, and I would pretend I was shipping them. That's how I would do that. I would also bring one of those infrared temperature guns, thermometers, so that I could keep tabs on the temperature, or get one of these. These are like $12 each, not really expensive. It connects to your phone via Bluetooth. You can put this in a box of fish or in a cooler or whatever and attach it to your phone, and anytime you want to know the temperature, you just check your phone. There's an app on the phone that syncs up to it. So that's how when we drive fish up from the airport, that's how we keep tabs on their temperature. Are they too cold back there? Are they too hot back there in the back of the van? Well, we put those in the boxes and we can, in real time, check the temperatures as we're en route. We'll also give these to our suppliers, like especially during the winter. Say, hey, drop these in your boxes before you send them to us, so we can get a sense of what temperatures they're experiencing on the trip to us, and we can make adjustments if they need more heat or less heat or whatever. So we aren't just guessing. So we have actual data we can work on with our suppliers. I think those are super handy. I do have a video, Darb, on the channel here about shipping fish. I go through the entire process, and it's not the exact process I do that matters. It's the principles underlying them. So if you don't have a heat sealer, don't do the heat sealer process. You can use a rubber band. You can tie a knot in a bag. You can do all kinds of things. But the principles of clean water and not packing too densely and nice insulated container and keeping the temperature correct will serve you well. Wade, hi Dan, me again. I know you are a soft open in Canada. Do you plan to buy fish from hobbies in Canada? I've got an insanely productive colony of multifasciatus. Oh, Wade, I would love to, but that paperwork is going to prevent that from happening, at least in the near future. If I import from Canada, I have to go through most of the same things I have to go through when I import from, you know, Colombia or Brazil or Peru or Indonesia or wherever. So it's a ton of work, and just doing that for one species or what, like I'll do that for 20 wholesale size boxes of fish. That makes sense. but just doing it for a box or two doesn't. Jerry Serple Morris. Hey, Jerry. I was able to get some Hillstream loaches for a great price locally and quickly converted a Molmy 10-gallon to River Rock setup, but the rocks are fresh, so no biofilm. What do you feed? So when we first get Hillstream loaches in, we give them frozen bloodworms because they will generally eat those right away. And we want to get some weight, we want to start them eating. And then after a day or two of doing that, I'll start introducing monster pellets or Massivore Delight or some large sinking pellet. And I'll also do an algae wafer. So what I'll do when I start introducing those is I'll put those in the morning. They're pretty water stable. So I'll put those in the morning, wait a few hours. If they haven't eaten, then I'll take those out and put in some bloodworms. And then I'll continue doing that until they learn to eat those. That way they're still eating, but when they're really hungry, when they haven't eaten overnight or whatever, they have that pellet to work on. So they usually take to that pellet within a week, maybe two. They're usually pretty good at getting on those pellets and algae wafers. But almost always they will gladly take frozen bloodworms straight away if they're healthy. Well, and settled in enough. They aren't so nervous that they just can't eat. Oh, Johnny answered it. Yeah, Canada is open. So we're selling into Canada, but not buying because it's a lot more paperwork. Yeah. Johnny's going to make me obsolete here pretty soon. He can answer most of the questions. Okay, were you in the Little Miami River? I was, Two Turtle Tom. That's where I was in Cincinnati. We collected a little tributary that feeds into the Little Miami, and then went down in the Little Miami itself as well. I bought a pair of Rio Atoya swords from you, Ataya. They stick together like glue. Do they usually school up? And if so, what would be a good number of for a school of a 40-gallon aquarium? I would say they shoal more than school. If they're constantly glued together and never like disperse throughout the tank to feed and stuff, they might still be nervous, in which case it might help to put some plant cover in there. Some diddlerfish might help as well. But as far as a school for a 40-gallon, I think long-term you could easily do, you're going to get about that big. I think you could do 8 to a dozen without too much trouble. Coro Works, thank you for the Wild Fish Boudoir photo shoot. Yeah. So I was getting all wet, so I just, tore off my shirt and just got in. I was like, yeah, trying to stay dry is not working on this collecting trip, so. Oh, you're getting babies out of your swordtails. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, those Rio Toyaks I think they're super cool. So for those that don't know this fish, this is Xiphophorus helleri, which is the common species of swordtail. Nothing special there, except for this is a very specific location that develops these melanistic patterns on them. These very nice, beautiful, contrasting black blotches all over them, which I think is really, really cool, really beautiful. So it's a standard wild type green swordtail with that. And then the other thing it has is the red on the sides is really pronounced. It's like laser red when they're settled in and happy. So it's kind of a special wild type swordtail. It takes a Xiphophorus helleri and just makes it nice and fancy. Stephen P. gifted 5 Dance Fish memberships, as did Kelly Foreman, and Big Steve also gave one. You're making it rain memberships. Thanks, Steve and Kelly and Big Steve. I really appreciate your continued support. Like week after week, you guys blow my mind. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I have a pair of purple mosaic Dumbo Guppy, says Tuxedo Pitbulls, that I brought out of Thailand. I just measured them. The female is 2 1/4 inches. The male is 2 inches. They just had their second batch of babies. Yeah, that's big. I would imagine that's to the tip of the tail, not the body size. But that sounds chonky. That's big. Dragon Lair, if you ever come to Alabama, my nephew and I will wear you out catching natives here. Yeah, I would. If I can make this trip work, I'll take you up on that. Not I might, I will. Like, so Alabama has the most diversity of freshwater fish in North America, unless Tennessee does. There's a rivalry going back and forth, and it just depends on where the science is at that time. Like, what new species have been described, or what splits have happened, or, you know, yeah, as the taxonomists do their thing. But yeah, Alabama would be great. So many amazing fish there, including my favorite location of rainbow shiners, which is Cahaba. And I want to collect the Paint Rock River system there as well. What about the new fish? Did I miss it? No, Natalie, you didn't miss it. I missed it. Let's tell you what's new here at Dan's Fish. So here's the new listings, and there's some more that I think will be going up this week. Some more super blue Carry Tetras, and really are stunning blue. Like, these are aptly named. Give them a couple weeks after you get them so they chill out and settle in. Bright blue and purple, really amazing. More gold roseline barbs. This is a fish we're known for. We've been working with these for years. I happen to know the breeder that originated this strain, and it's a fish we do well with. More blue galaris. Maybe my favorite killifish. I can't choose, but this is one that is near and dear to my heart. This is a new species to us. This is the blue zebra hillstream loach. So it's got a zebra pattern and a blue tail, which we did not get a good picture of the blue tail, but it's that nice iridescent blue tail with some striping on it. And I believe they get some blue in the dorsal as well. We just haven't caught it on camera well yet. Ivanacara bimaculata. These were raised by a hobbyist in the Northwest. And the nice thing about bimaculata is it's just as beautiful as Ivanacara adokita, but without so much aggression. It is not as aggressive, which is fantastic. Albino hoplocats. Found a good place to get those from. Spotted lizard hillstream loaches. I like these lizard type loaches. I think they're really, really neat. The Homoloptera types. These are big. Let's see what size. It says about 2.5 inches. Some of them are even bigger than that. Nice big lizard loaches. Not something you see every day. Kind of hard to find. Finally, sparkling gouramis. This is one of our most requested fish. And we have a batch that's doing really well, and I think will be rock solid for you. Really nice group of those that are nice and healthy. Some more gold lasers, platinum parrots. These have kind of been a revelation. These yellow galaxy sunset guppies. Really nice contrasts between the yellow and the dark patterning, and you get the pattern on the body on a lot of them as well. You get that galaxy pattern. Just a few more of my favorite tetra. Hyphesobricon procyon, the raccoon tetra. These are small. They're not fully colored up yet. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. There's a few big ones that are. Some anomala. And the sunrise platies. Really nice batch of these that I think is going to do well for you. I think these are going to be nice and hardy. They've been doing us right. So I think these are going to work. So that's some of the highlights, and there'll be more stuff there. Oh, also let's see here. Oh, yeah, I knew Johnny was going to put more down, and he's been doing that while I've been talking. So we did get some more copper mollies, some more Aphyosemium bivitatum funge. This is only a male. They're big, they're beautiful. We've grown them out a bit because we were hoping to get some more females to match them up with before we sold them. Haven't been able to get any for a while, so just thought we would sell these. Roseline barbs, a really nice batch of nice, healthy furcata. Just doing fantastic. If you've had bad luck with furcata, try these. These will live for you. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. More of the coral red pencilfish, the Morton thaleri, the blue velvet tiger barbs, and by the way, they actually are a nice blue color. So they, at first we were like, well, they're kind of greenish, but the more they grow, the more they're like more blue than green. They're still a little greenish. They're like an aqua or aquamarine kind of color, but quite a bit of blue in them. Tinwini danios. We think this is Tenocephalus, but we're not sure, so we just call it the spotted hillstream loach. Some Betacochina. I ordered, 100? They sent me, I think I ended up with 12. Like, I tried. Okay, Panda Cories, I'm super excited about this batch because it appears to be hardy. We've been having real trouble with these again. In fact, one of the things that I spoke with some other fish store owners this last weekend was like, he came up to me and I was like, anything you want to know? Like, how can I help? They're like, do you know somewhere I can get healthy Panda Cories? Like, healthy Panda Cories and healthy stir-by have been really difficult. So I've been trying some different suppliers because the ones that previously have been healthy have started having problems. And I found one where they're doing really, really well. So good, healthy group of Panda Cories. Finally, Harlequin rasbors. Believe it or not, this is one of our absolute top sellers. I brought them in because I needed, several months ago, I brought some in because I needed to fill out a box. And I was like, well, I might as well get something. I'll get some of those. I didn't think they would sell well because this is a fish you can find, at every big box store out there. But again, like so many fish out there, it's hard to find healthy ones. So I found something. I used to think that our niche would be, rare, hard to find stuff. And it still is, and we'll continue to do that. But our customer base has taught us something, which is, it's not just that. It's also stuff that's common, but hard to get healthy. People really want. Cardinal tetras, rummy-nosed tetras, cubitai rasboras, celestial pearl danios, harlequin rasboras. There's all these common fish that people want, but they have a hard time getting healthy ones. And so we found that there's actually a lot of demand for that in our customer base. So it surprised the heck out of me, but harlequin rasboras are right up there. We sell a lot of them. Like 40 pencilfish, a really nice group of these. We've been out for a while. The solid yellow hyphen variatus. These are doing really well for us. I don't know anywhere else you can get these. They're a really neat, solid yellow platy, nice high fins. They're not cheap, but they're healthy and they're decent quality. Okay, my fingers are crossed here. Black Venezuelan corridors have been very difficult to get healthy as well. I think we finally found not just a supplier that has healthy ones, but also the protocol we need to go through to make sure they're healthy long-term for our customers. We've thought we got there in the past, and then people had trouble, and this is the Cory that I wouldn't say we have massive amounts of loss on them. It's still a very small amount of loss, but it's been one that we've been like, we still got to figure this out. We still aren't there. I think with this batch, we're there. They've been doing awesome. So I would really like to hear feedback. If you purchase these, would you let us know how they arrive? And a couple weeks later, would you let me know, hey, they're still doing good, or hey, they arrived great, but within 2 days, all these problems developed. I really want to know how these are doing for you long term, because if we haven't figured them out, I want to know that so we can adjust some things. But I think these are ready to rock and roll. Some bandit Cories, leopard tenopomas. There's a lot of new stuff. Full gold guppies, and these look really nice. It's a nice solid batch. And finally, Hawaii variatus platies. Also had a heck of a time finding healthy Hawaii variatus platies and figuring out how to handle them when they first get here so that they, thrive for our customers. We've been working on this for 9 months. But this group appears that we finally got there. So that's some of the new stuff that we have here at Dan's Fish. We're constantly trying to figure out how to get fish to our customers that will thrive long term. And man, live bears are a challenge, and not just for us. They're a challenge everywhere. Cories as well. So we're slowly but surely, we're figuring out how to get better and better and better. Bob Kaler, almost 2-year membership. Yes, indeedy. One of the OGs, 23 months. Anyway, Natalie, that's the new stuff. Thanks for asking me about it, because I totally forgot to do it. Forgot to show you the new stuff. Okay, chat jumped, so the next one I can see is Swaybird. Do tetras like Rummy Nose and Embers get along with guppies? Yes and no. I've had it very successful many times. But occasionally, or I should say rarely, I've had tetras that will nip guppies' tails. And I don't know why. They usually don't, but sometimes they do. With Rummy Nose and Embers, I think it's less likely than a lot of other tetras. But I've even had neon tetras and cardinal tetras shred fins very occasionally. So I think that they would be fine. But just be aware that there's every now and then they surprise me. Divide by 0. Error. Hey Dan, had a surprise yesterday. My Montezuma swordtails that I purchased from you are producing babies already. Woo! Another great purchase from you. Thanks. Hey, Divide by 0. I'm glad to hear that. If you raise a bunch, I'd love to buy them back. Those were so pretty. Such a great fish. And the Nezzies are awesome too. The Nezaquatl swords, really nice swordtail as well for those that like wild type swordtails. Candy's World throwing down a generous super chat. Always appreciated, Candy. Never required, but thank you so much for the support. I got Phoenix Razabors from you twice now. Thanks for providing. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Oh, that group of Phoenix Razabors is awesome. They're rock solid. Yeah, they should do really well for you. And hopefully they've colored up by now. Okay. Let's see here. Any new pistogrammas coming? Yes. I'm looking at some nice ones now. Just waiting for them to get through quarantine before I want to talk about them. Rockin' Fish. My favorite talk was Jeremy Bosch. Although I froze. Oh, you didn't have your sweater. Yeah. At the ACA, Jeremy Bosch gave a good talk on collecting in Colombia, which was really interesting. Any recommendations? Can't talk. Any recommendations for a top-dwelling fish in a 40 breeder that can match the sweet and peaceful temperament of my pygmy cories, red lizard whiptail, and cherry shrimp? Thanks. Yeah, I think. So you have cherry shrimp. If they're adult cherry shrimp, I think you could do platinum half-beaks. I think you could do pygmy hatchet fish. And I think clown killifish would all be good contenders for that top zone. Marbled hatchet fish would probably be okay too. Now, all the fish that you have in your tank already, actually that's not true. Pygmy cories and red lizard whiptails probably aren't going to prey heavily on baby shrimp. But free swimming fish that aren't benthic, meaning fish that aren't like surface huggers that are at the top, they might occasionally pick off a baby shrimp. That being said, most of them, if they're true top dwellers, aren't going to be down in the rocks and stuff as much where the shrimp tend to congregate. So I think that those would work. Top dwelling, small, peaceful. Off the top of my head, those are my best suggestions. Oh, there's a miniature, what is that pencil fish we have? Let's see here, that's kind of miniature. Is it Marginatus? They tend to be at the surface. This one, I don't have a picture of it. It's the dwarf pencil fish, Nanostomus marginatus. It's pretty small, and they don't only stay at the surface, but they're often up at the surface. So that might be one to look at as well. Not as dedicated to the surface though, but it does tend to hang up there. We have floating plants in the tanks, and like if you had a bare top with no floating plants or cover, I don't know if they would stay at the top as much as they do in our tank. Did you check out the new book on fish health from Florida University Tropical Aquaculture Lab? I have not yet, Professor Fish Tanks, but that's something that I would like to do, especially if it's new. We do follow the University of Florida stuff, but we do most of that online and through scholarly papers and things like that. So yeah, haven't looked at that book yet. Stephen White, any tips for breeding the humpback limia and the Rostrata loach? So not the Rostrata loach, I don't have breeding experience with that, but the humpback limia for sure. So how I've bred them is I just pack about 50% of the aquarium with plants, a bunch of floating water sprite and Java moss from floor to ceiling, bunch of plants. And then I just feed the tank like normal, except I'll squirt some baby brine shrimp or I'll crush up some flake or something and put that over on the plant side every day. And I get good production. Like, they're not hard to breed. And as long as there's enough plants and there's food over there, the babies are wily little things. They'll generally escape their parents. So I've bred many, many humpback limias, Limia perugiae, vittata, pretty much all the limias we've tried. If there's good plant cover in, you know, I don't know, a third to half the tank, and they're fed, they'll just spontaneously appear. I have 6 Amazon puffers. Oh, that sounds fun. And a planted 55, is a planted 55 large enough? Absolutely. And what would you recommend for tank mates? I wouldn't. Yes, I think a 55 is large enough for 6 Amazon puffers, like full-time their whole life. And what would I recommend for them? I'm not saying that they can't be with other fish. I've seen it happen. I have a close friend who had a large tank and had Amazon puffers in there with a full community of fish long-term, and I don't think she ever had any problems. But in my experience, when I've kept puffers with other fish, they tend to nip them. So it can be done, and people do it, but I haven't done it, so I'm not able to recommend it because I just don't know that much about doing it. Can you put guppies in with discus? You can, and your discus will thank you because they will love the snack. Patrick Berggren, I easily 6 different types of live food cultures. I easily have 6 different types of live food cultures, though I can't breed scuds. pH 7.8, alkalinity 180, hardness 150, nitrates 80 nitrate. Live plants with some algae and vegetables help. Huh. You can't breed scuds. I mean, is there food in there for them all the time? Like, if you coin up a piece of zucchini, stick it on a fork and drop it in there. A little watermelon rind, stuff like that. I don't know, Patrick. I've never had a problem with scuds. Like, if they're fed and they have stuff to cling to, maybe that. They need a lot of surface area because they're going to scoot around on the surfaces and graze on stuff and cling to stuff and hide in stuff. So is there a lot of surface area in the tank? Lots of Java moss, which they will chew down over time, or pumice stones are great. That's lots of surface area if you put a stack of pumice stones in the side or something like that. So, or just a sponge, like a metalamat with really big holes in it, a really porous sponge or metalamat. If you can sink that down, that's a lot of surface area they can get in. So if you don't have a lot of surface area in the tank, maybe try that. Just for fun, what would it take for you to Dell snails? I don't know what Dell sell. Oh, we do sell snails. I've got snails for sale right now. Cool videos from a cool guy. Check this out. Snail. Snail. Here you go. You want snails? We got some snails. Here's snails we have for sale. Not a bajillion types, but we have some. Jerry says, thank you. I've been pouring Daphnia from an outdoor pond in every morning, but frozen bloodworms will be easier to see that they're eating. Yeah, and they sink. Daphnia are great, but they're not going to be able to eat them unless they, like, you know, cling to a surface. So I think that would be challenging because the Daphnia are going to be, you know, swimming around freely in the water column. Only wee! Dang it, I bought 6 Melanitania Goodyear Cura from a local fish auction club, and they all turned out to be female. Oh, that's, yeah. You know, sometimes that happens to our customers too. When they're small and not easy to tell the sexes at a glance, we try hard, but every now and then we'll get a comment from customers like, hey, can I get males this time? Because I got all females last time, or vice versa. Excuse me. Okay. Mel Wool. Sorry I missed you at the ACI. I did, however, scoop up 6 Cryptoheris nautiluteus, my first care species, and a beautiful little fish. Great little fish. Yellow convicts. Yeah, I've had them before. Excited to raise and breed them. Yeah, they are fun little fish. Like a small, colorful convict that's fairly peaceful. How can I tell if a killifish is an annual or not? You can go to the AKA. Okay. It's easy, aka.org. That's the American Killifish Association. And if you check it out, there's a place on here where you can search species and learn all about the species. So what do you want? We're gonna go with, let's go with, I don't know, Nothobronchius. Okay, I don't want a subgenus. Let's do this. This might be easier. There you go. So there's a place, I'm not showing it well right now. I'd have to go back in and dig in here. There's a place here where you can get all kinds of information on the species, and they'll be right up, maybe it's the public library. Yeah, I think it's this. So Old World species, this is annual species here. So if you click on that, here you go. The genus Nothobronchius, and it tells you all about them and their habitats and all that stuff. It even tells you how to incubate them, which, you know, that's a sure sign they're annuals. So here's the Old World annuals, and here's the New World annuals. The rest of these are not going to be annual fish. So if you look at those, that'll tell you. And you'll quickly get to know the fish well enough to just know at a glance or look at the name and be like, oh, okay, now I know. You need to see the West Alabama rainbow shiners. They put Cahaba in the shade. All right, I'm game. Like, I haven't seen everything. So far, Cahaba are my favorite because here's what I like about Cahaba. If I could spell shiner, I put Shriner. Okay, so my friend Stan Sung took this picture of some Cahaba that he collected. And what I love is, see how they're not in breeding dress and they still have all this beautiful blue on them. So, you know, often rainbow shiners look kind of like this. You know, these are more juvenile, so take it with a little grain of salt. But with the Cahaba, the adult males, even when they're not breeding, are still this beautiful iridescent. It looks like someone took a neon glitter and put it on them. Nice bright blue. And they also get it on these fins. These reflect very iridescently in the light as they swim around the tank. So that's what I like about Cahaba. So far, that's the nicest one I've seen when it's out of breeding color. When they're in breeding color, they're all beautiful. But that's why I like that one. Now, maybe the ones from Western Alabama are like even bluer. I don't know. Or maybe they have the blue plus a really bright red or something. Yeah. Just got my first drop of, I know this fish, but I don't know how to say it. Belonosox brasiliensis this week, the murder guppy. Oh, that sounds exciting. Those are really neat fish and hard to breed because they eat their babies so fast. Neat fish, not great parents. It's like, yeah. It's like an Austin Powers character, you know. Ooh, that baby looks delicious. Hunter McLaren, how would raccoon tetras handle a medium flow tank? My rummy nose and super blue carry tetras love dancing in the flow of a powerhead. Would raccoon tetras enjoy that as well? So they can take some flow. The river they come from has decent flow, but they're going to hang out on the margins where the flow is less. But it's still probably quite a bit of flow compared to what an aquarium would produce. So that's my guess. I'm guessing if super blue carries are happy in it, that raccoons probably would be as well, Hunter. Now that being said, I've never kept them in a tank with a power head, and I don't see them seeking the current, but I don't think that they would be, I don't think they would be bothered by it if your carry tetras aren't. How do pygmy rainbows compare to dwarf praycocks? A lot smaller. Different body shape, different coloration, and a lot smaller. They're both really neat fish, though. No shade to the praycocks. Catherine Kennedy. I live on an island, so I don't have access to an LFS. As much as I enjoy being able to buy rare and unique fish, you are my go-to for the common fish as well. Oh, thanks, Catherine. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's like one of the best days of my life as a fishmonger was there's a customer that's bought from us lots of times who saw we had cardinal tetras for sale and was like, I've tried these so many times and I always fail. They're fish I wish I could keep, but I can't. And I was like, well, do you really like them? Yeah, I just can't keep them alive. If you could keep them alive, would you want to keep them? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'll sell them to you, and ours have been doing amazing for a long time, so I think they're going to do well for you. Just give them one more shot. Get some from us, give them one more shot. And like months later, they were still doing good for him. They were awesome, and he was just delighted. That felt amazing to be able to source a fish for someone that isn't hard to get and that they really wanted but had given up on, not because they wanted to give up on it, but they literally thought they couldn't have success with it. Nope, it's just a supply chain. The supply chain doesn't do a good job with those fish, and often they won't thrive for you. It was nothing he was doing. So that felt awesome. So I get why people are buying common stuff from us too. There's a lot of common stuff that the supply chain does not treat well. Like you would think it'd be easy to get healthy guppies, right? It's not. Used to be, not anymore. KCM Aquatics bought a group of 6 super red plecos and a group of 5 lemon blue-eye plecos about 8 months ago, and they're doing amazing and breeding like crazy. Thanks for the healthy, hardy fish. Oh, you're very welcome. Those lemon blue eyes are especially cool because those were bred by a lady here in the United States, by a hobbyist. She does a great job with those. We just got a new batch from her. Eric Wyrock, I was finally able to save a spawn of the red lizard whiptail catfish. Right on. I purchased from you. I counted 52, and that was all I could see. Probably a lot more. Eric, that's so great. Congratulations. Yeah, that's a neat fish, especially when it gets some size and girth on it, right? What a red lizard whiptails are nothing to sneeze at. They are an amazing fish. You said to remind you about the barred loach. Oh yes, thank you. Barred loach. Let's see if I can find a good picture of this. Let's see here. So Dave asked me what these look like in And we have a picture, we have some pictures, but it does not show them very well. It doesn't show the red in the tail or anything like that. They're super dark. So let's see if we can get a picture of this that shows the fish properly. Okay, this does an okay job. This is pretty much what they look like. Yeah, the difference I would say is in ours, most of the red is in the upper caudal fin, up on the top portion of the tail. There's some down here, but it's fainter than here. So this is the pattern. That's what the fish looks like. More red in the top of the tail fin. We've had this group of these guys for a long time. They're doing great. They're big, thick, chunky fish, too. I mean, for a loach, they're not like a little... Well, they're not little. For a loach, they're chunky fish. Okay, it's probably time to do the giveaway. If I don't... Oh, there it is. I was going to say, if I don't do it soon, Bob Kaler is going to remind me, and he just did. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. So this is for a group of red rosetail guppies that was bred and raised by a hobbyist here in the United States who brought them up to the 4th of July barbecue for us. And thank you, Russell. Much appreciated. So let's... And then I think it's a group of 3 that were 3 pairs, I believe. So you're going to get, it's 2 or 3 pairs that are in there, if I remember correctly. So it's not just a pair. You get a couple or 3. There are 220 folks that have entered to win that, and the winner is Benia 2112. 2112. Benia 2112, you have won some really cool guppies. You have 2 minutes to claim those winnings. Let me set my 2-minute timer right here. 2-minute Google timer. Okay, when that reaches 0, your time is up. If you have not claimed your winnings by entering something in the chat, like yay, I won, or hooray, or whatever, but you have to enter something in the chat because you do have to be here. I am heat. I am here. All right, Benia did it. That was quick. So is that a record? That was like under 30 seconds. All right. So Benia, congratulations. Send us an email. hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. Give us your first name, your last name, your mailing address, and then we will get back and we'll figure out a good day to ship the fish out to you. And you'll have some really cool guppies that should be super healthy because they didn't go through the rigor of the industry's meat grinder of a supply chain. I think I have room for one more. 12 new members. Thanks, everyone that gave away memberships and bought memberships. That's awesome. That's just great. Thanks for becoming a member of the Dan's Fish Channel. Okay, let's see here. One more. Chat jumps when I do these things, so I'm scrolling up to try to find. My trio bimaculata are still a bit skittish. What dithers would you recommend for them? I think I disturbed them while they are trying to spawn. Ooh, whoops. Spencer sister, I find that it takes them, well, it depends. How do I answer that? The last group we had was like at the front of the glass saying, feed me from the beginning. But the group before that, I would say it took them 3-4 weeks to really settle in. And they're in there with some angelfish right now, and they get along famously. The angelfish help bring them out. But it took a few weeks before they got comfortable. Now, what's weird is they're all from the same breeder. So, I mean, one batch is not shy at all and is begging for food from the beginning. The other one took a few weeks. The one that was not shy at all is by itself. There's no other fish in there because when we first get them, we quarantine them by themselves. So I don't know how to explain that, but I think any, like the angelfish are doing well with them. I don't know long term if the bimaculata, when they start spawning, might nip the angelfish or something, but so far none of that's happening. I think I think most of your standard tetras and that type of thing would make a decent dither fish for them. You want something that's fast enough to get away from them where they despawn and go aggro. So that's my best thought, although I haven't ever really had the need for it because they do over time settle in and get friendly and beg for food. Okay, I think it's time to end this. I want to thank everyone for being here, chiefly my moderators for volunteering their time to keep the chat rolling. Also, the members of the channel, thanks for being members. Really appreciate it. If you gave away memberships, so supportive, so helpful, so appreciated. If you threw money at us in the form of super chats, thanks for the dough. Every little bit helps. And man, Rob, thanks for the massive super chat. That was quite unexpected. If you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you weren't, I still love you. Hail the Lurker Nation. If you're listening on the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening on the podcast, thanks for listening. That's it for today. We'll be back next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I really hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.